Did you see what recently was announced with Amazon? You know, they had previously
James
bought
Bond.
they bought the MGM rights before. No, they bought something before distribution, but now they own the full. They own all. What do you call it? Like it's they own the copyright. They own.
Yeah.
So now, I think Jeff Bezos just put out. He said, "Hey, who do you want to see play the next Bond?" That was yesterday.
Right. Yeah. It's because they've owned the family. I always feel like I mispronounce the name.
62.
62. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the name of them?
Broccoli or something. It's not broccoli.
Yeah.
But it's definitely broccoli or something.
Italian, ends with an I.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The father had obviously purchased the rights to the Ian Fleming books, and they made Dr. No, and it's now an institution, obviously. But yeah, it's changed hands for the first time in decades upon decades. So
you wonder what the economics, how's that going to work, right?
Or just how are the films going to turn out? You know what I mean? Like it has a different, but in all full transparency, I don't think it could go. I didn't like the last one really at all. So I'm like, anything could be better than the last one.
They killed him, man.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? That's not James Bond. You can't kill James Bond.
Wonder what are they going to do? What do you think they're going to do next? They killed him.
Yeah.
They can't bring him back. He's dead. We accepted it.
I never did. I never accepted it. I couldn't. James Bond doesn't die.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're going with that. You're like, he didn't die.
He didn't. That movie doesn't exist for me. So the last Daniel Craig movie was Skyfall for me because the last two were like, oh man, this just stinkers.
Was Spectre? Was that before Skyfall?
Yeah. No. Spectre was after Skyfall.
I like Spectre. You didn't like it, huh?
I thought it was okay. I didn't really like what they did with Blofeld. I'm a big James Bond person, so like, basically, like if you're not, the gold standard for me is like the early Connery films.
Goldfinger. Is that a Roger Moore?
Goldfinger's. No, that's Sean Connery. GoldenEye is Pierce Brosnan.
There you go.
That one's great.
Yeah.
Like for me, like you just have to meet certain criteria to make a good
tell us
James
what.
Bond
Tell
film.
us what criteria for a Bond movie.
It's a good question. So for me, obviously he has to save the day. Like that's just number one. He doesn't die. First of all, he probably has relations with one or two, females, and he's a smoking, drinking, killing machine. You know what I mean? For King and Country.
He's such a cool character. He never loses his shit.
No, he's supposed to be cool. Like this is gonna make me sound like I'm just like holding on to things, but
you are. So talk about it.
It's fine. It's fine. Like I don't like when like James Bond falls in love. Like I liked it in Casino Royale because it explained why he doesn't fall in love anymore.
That told the story why you shouldn't.
That in my opinion, like James Bond's the ultimate representation of like these are kind of the characters you need in just real life to defend democracy.
Are you talking about Jack Nicholson? You need us on that wall. Is that where we're going?
Kind of. You know what I mean? It's like you need like people like James Bond who are cold and they
protect us.
They protect us. But that's what's interesting about him is that it's kind of a statement on that in many ways. Ian Fleming was a dark guy. He was the guy who saw World War II. He was with these folks, the guy who wrote the originals during the war, and he based it off of those profiles. You know what I mean?
Probably knew a couple of these guys.
Yeah, they were. They had to be a certain way, or they wouldn't have survived. Like I've heard, like this analysis that like the reason James Bond like lives it up like he drinks his martinis, he eats the best food because any day he could die. Any day could be his day where he's gone. You know what I mean? And he also he has a license to kill. You know what I mean? Like he kills not indiscriminately, but discriminately at least.
The U.S. and the CIA, we had a dude like him. Do you know his name? Billy Wall.
I've heard that name.
They've been talking about this guy a lot recently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was he? Cold War guy?
Man, he was all the way up until like Iraq and Afghanistan.
Oh, really?
He recently
Wow.
passed away.
Oh, wow.
I think he lived until he was like 90.
Wow.
He was like the dude.
Yeah.
That even all the elite operatives knew of.
Right.
Like when you would walk into a room, you hear these guys talk about him, all these Delta Force guys and these CIA operatives, and they walk into a room. It's on podcasts these days, and they walk in, they see him there. It's like they walked in and saw God.
Yeah.
Like he was a James Bond guy.
He was just
like
a legend.
He never died.
Right.
And you hear of all these stories that he was involved in, and he was there. And it's wondering, like, how in the hell does a human become that?
Through maybe that psychology, like not caring. You know what I mean? And it's also meant to be fantasy at the same time. You know, it's almost like it's like you're watching it because you kind of want to be Bond. You want to be like the coolest guy at the, upscale bar in Monaco, with a white suit on, smoking a cigarette.
Well, I think
and
it's that
drinking
you
a
walk
martini.
into a room and everyone bows down and knows you're there,
Right.
and you don't have
Yeah.
to say a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, like, I guess, like, it's probably more of a male fantasy, but everybody, that's why, you watch those, like, action film, like Man with No Name, Clint Eastwood. The reason you like that character so much, because, like, he's just the ultimate, badass who just doesn't care.